there is a moment in life that rarely looks dramatic from the outside. Yet internally, it feels like a quiet turning point. It happens when you realize you have been living efficiently, but not necessarily intentionally. You know how to meet expectations. You know how to fulfill responsibilities. You know how to appear stable. But when you sit alone without distractions, there is a subtle question that refuses to disappear. Is this truly my life, or just the life I learned how to manage? Most people never slow down enough to face that question. They move from goal to goal, from obligation to obligation, assuming that progress automatically equals fulfillment. They measure success by milestones and productivity, not by internal alignment. And because society rewards visible achievement, they continue building a life that looks impressive, while feeling increasingly distant from themselves. Self-discovery begins the moment you stop confusing movement with meaning. Just because you are advancing does not mean you are aligned. Just because you are busy does not mean you are purposeful. The world will applaud your discipline long before it asks whether you are genuinely connected to what you are doing. That responsibility falls on you. This journey is not about abandoning ambition or rejecting structure. It is about questioning the foundation beneath them. Who decided what success looks like for you? Which parts of your personality are authentic, and which were shaped by adaptation? How much of your identity was formed from survival rather than conscious choice? These questions are uncomfortable because they challenge certainty. But certainty built on autopilot is fragile. Real stability comes from clarity. And clarity only appears when you are willing to examine your patterns without defensiveness. In this video, we are not chasing motivation. We are building awareness, because awareness is the beginning of transformation, and transformation rooted in truth lasts. Achievement feels powerful. It provides direction. It offers measurable progress. It creates external validation. From an early age, you are likely rewarded for performance. Good grades, good behavior, good results. Over time, achievement may have become more than something you do. It may have become who you are. When achievement turns into identity, rest becomes threatening. Slowing down feels unproductive. Failure feels personal. You start equating your value with your output. The question shifts from who am I to what have I accomplished lately? This mindset is subtle, but it reshapes your inner dialogue. Constant achievement can mask internal misalignment. You may be excelling in areas that do not truly fulfill you. You may be chasing promotions, recognition, or financial milestones without asking whether they reflect your deeper values. Because progress feels good in the short term, you avoid questioning the direction in the long term. The hidden cost appears gradually. Emotional fatigue increases. Satisfaction becomes temporary. Each success requires a new target to maintain momentum. You become addicted to forward motion because stopping forces reflection. And reflection might reveal that some of your goals were inherited rather than chosen. Self-discovery asks you to separate your worth from your performance. It invites you to ask whether your ambition is driven by alignment or by fear of inadequacy. There is nothing wrong with striving, but striving without awareness turns into endless pursuit. When you detach identity from achievement, you regain freedom. Freedom to choose goals that resonate rather than impress. Freedom to rest without guilt. Freedom to redefine success according to your evolving truth. Throughout life, you naturally adopted roles. The responsible one, the caretaker, the independent achiever, the peacemaker. These roles may have been necessary at one stage. They helped you navigate expectations and maintain stability. But roles that once protected you can eventually confine you. Outgrowing a role is subtle. You start feeling tension when you behave in ways that used to feel natural. You feel drained after interactions that once energized you. You notice resentment building in situations where you always say yes. These signals are not signs of selfishness. They are signs of evolution. Continuing to perform outdated roles creates internal conflict. You may feel obligated to maintain an image that no longer reflects your current values. You may fear disappointing others if you change. But staying consistent for the sake of predictability often leads to disconnection from yourself. Letting go of a role does not mean rejecting your past. It means acknowledging growth. It means allowing your identity to expand beyond patterns formed in earlier circumstances. When you give yourself permission to evolve, relationships may shift. Expectations may need adjustment. But authenticity replaces tension. Self-discovery requires courage because growth is visible. Others, notice when you stop overextending, when you express new boundaries, when you pursue interests that do not fit your old image. But evolution is not betrayal. It is maturity, and maturity demands alignment over comfort. One of the strongest barriers to self-discovery is the fear of disappointing people. Approval feels safe. Rejection feels threatening. Even as adults, many decisions are filtered through the question, how will this affect how I am perceived? That question can quietly override personal truth. You may stay in environments that no longer resonate because leaving feels disruptive. You may suppress desires that feel inconvenient to others. You may prioritize harmony over authenticity. At first, these choices seem considerate. Over time, they erode self. Disappointing others is uncomfortable because it challenges identity. If you have been known as reliable, agreeable, or strong, changing behavior may confuse people. But constant self-sacrifice builds quiet resentment. And resentment, when unacknowledged, damages relationships more than honest boundaries ever could. Learning to tolerate temporary discomfort is part of growth. When you choose alignment, some expectations will no longer be met, but those who respect you will adapt. Those who only valued your compliance may resist. That reaction reveals more about the dynamic than about your worth. Self-discovery requires redefining loyalty. True loyalty includes loyalty to your own development. It means understanding that preserving peace at the cost of authenticity creates internal chaos. When you accept that not everyone will approve of your evolution, you gain emotional independence, and emotional independence strengthens inner authority. Self-trust is often lost gradually. Each time you ignore your intuition, each time you override your feelings to satisfy expectations, each time you promise yourself change and abandon it for comfort. Over time, doubt grows. You question your judgment. You hesitate before acting on insight. Rebuilding self-trust starts with small commitments, following through on decisions that align with your values, honoring your boundaries even when it feels awkward, listening to your internal signals instead of dismissing them as irrational. These actions rebuild integrity between thought and behavior. Integrity creates confidence, not loud confidence, quiet certainty. You no longer need constant reassurance because your choices reflect awareness. You accept mistakes as learning rather than proof of inadequacy. You become more resilient because your identity is not fragile. Self-trust also reduces anxiety. When you know you will act in alignment with your values, uncertainty becomes less threatening. You cannot control outcomes, but you can control integrity. And integrity stabilizes identity. This process takes time. Patterns formed over years do not dissolve overnight. But consistency builds credibility with yourself. And as credibility strengthens, decisions become clearer. You move forward, not because others expect it, but because it feels true. The ultimate goal of self-discovery is not endless analysis. It is conscious creation. When you understand your patterns, values, and fears, you can design your life intentionally. You stop reacting to circumstances and start shaping them. Conscious creation means evaluating opportunities through alignment rather than impulse. It means choosing environments that support growth. It means cultivating relationships where authenticity is welcomed. You no longer tolerate chronic misalignment because you recognize its cost. Living this way requires continuous awareness. Old habits will attempt to resurface. External pressure will challenge your boundaries. But awareness allows correction without self-judgment. Growth becomes a practice rather than a performance. When you live as a conscious creator, fulfillment deepens. You experience coherence between your inner world and outer actions. You stop chasing identity through achievement and start expressing identity through choice. Life feels less forced and more intentional. Self-discovery is not about becoming extraordinary. It is about becoming honest. Honest about what matters. Honest about what drains you. Honest about who you are becoming. And from that honesty, a different kind of strength emerges. A strength rooted not in performance, but in alignment.